In just under 48 hours, fishermen in Alaska pull up $2, 7 million worth of king crab from beneath 3 meters of solid ice. It looks unreal. Red shells glistening against the blue Arctic dusk, a delicacy that ends up on the world's most expensive tables. But behind every plate of luxury seafood lies the brutal reality of men fighting frostbite, fatigue, and time. This story unfolds in Alaska's Bering Sea, one of the harshest fisheries on Earth. Here, winter crab season is short, dangerous, and unforgiving. Ice thickens faster than machinery can cut it, and storms roll in without warning. Yet, these waters produce some of the world's finest king crab, a cornerstone of America's seafood economy. For the U.S., this isn't just fishing, it's survival, heritage, and pride. Each catch supports coastal families, shipyards, export terminals, and contributes millions to the national economy. The main catch process in Alaska's winter crab fishery is a blend of engineering precision, physical strength, and raw endurance. A dangerous operation carried out in one of the most hostile marine environments on Earth. It begins long before dawn. The crew awakens to the sound of hydraulic pumps rumbling below deck, the temperature hovering around -30 degrees Celsius. Every movement is slow and deliberate, not out of hesitation, but necessity. One misstep on an ice-coated deck could mean a career-ending fall into the freezing Bering Sea. The fishermen dress in layered thermal suits, waterproof bibs, and thick rubber gloves that harden like armor. Each man's breath crystallizes instantly, turning the air into a fog of frost. Floodlights pierce the Arctic darkness as the captain's voice crackles over the intercom. Prepare the first set. At the stern, the deckhands begin lowering steel crab pots, each one a cube of metal mesh measuring nearly 2 meters per side and weighing 300 to 350 kilograms when empty. Every pot is baited by hand, mostly chunks of herring, mackerel, or cod heads, tied inside the center of the cage. The scent of fish oil mixes with diesel fumes, and the sting of the cold air. Then, using a hydraulic crane, the pot is lifted and swung over a hole carved through 3 meters of ice. Cutting through that ice takes hours. The crew uses chainsaws, augers, and thermal torches to bore through the frozen surface until they reach the black water below. Each hole becomes a fragile gateway between the surface and the unseen world beneath where the king crabs roam. Once the pot is positioned, the release hook opens, and the cage plunges into the darkness. The rope unspools rapidly, disappearing into the hole, marked by a brightly colored buoy to track its position under the shifting ice. Dozens of pots are set in sequence, forming a grid across several nautical miles. Each drop must be precise. Navigation errors can mean losing thousands of dollars in gear to drifting ice sheets. The waiting begins. The pots soak for 12 to 20 hours, resting on the ocean floor, at depths reaching 100 to 400 meters. During this time, the bait scent travels through the currents, luring crabs from the surrounding seabed. When it's time to retrieve, the tension on board rises. The captain aligns the vessel directly over the buoy location using sonar and GPS. The crew hauls the ice-caked buoy from the water and attaches the line to the hydraulic block, a rotating drum that winches the rope up from the depth. The first sign of the pot's return is the sudden strain on the winch, followed by a splash of black seawater bursting through the hole. As the steel cage breaks the surface, the men lean in, anxious to see what the sea has offered. The moment is electric. A pot full of red, thrashing king crabs means success. Cheers echo through the frozen air as the trap swings over the deck. But when a pot rises nearly empty, there's only silence. Every haul is a gamble, shaped by tide, current, and luck. Deckhands guide the pot onto the sorting table with long steel gaffs. Crabs tumble out in a wave of claws and shells, clattering against the deck. Their shells glow deep crimson against the floodlights, steam rising from their bodies as cold air meets the warmer seawater dripping from their legs. The cycle continues, hour after hour, through blizzards and biting winds. The mechanical rhythm of the winch never stops. Lift, swing, dump, repeat. Between sets, the crew chips ice from railings, clears frozen ropes, and rubs their hands to keep blood flowing. Even as exhaustion sets in, precision never wavers. A single mistake, a caught sleeve, a tangled line can pull a man overboard in seconds. Each crew member relies on the others for safety, their coordination honed by years at sea. By the end of a 20-hour shift, the deck is littered with frost, seawater, and crab shells. The traps are reset, the bait replenished, and the process begins again, a relentless cycle of labor and reward. Through it all, the men understand that every successful haul is more than just a catch. It's the culmination of centuries of tradition, mechanical ingenuity, and raw human endurance. The essence of Alaska's crab fishing legacy. Once the crab pots are hauled aboard, the clock starts ticking. In the brutal Alaskan cold, the difference between a fresh, valuable crab and a frozen loss can be a matter of minutes. Sorting becomes a race against time. A precise, regulated, and exhausting process that decides not only profit, but also the future of the fishery. The deck transforms into a makeshift processing line. Floodlights cast long, icy shadows as crew members gather around sorting tables. The air is thick with a mix of diesel, seawater, and the faint metallic scent of frozen salt. Crabs clatter across the steel surfaces, their legs twitching in slow motion from the cold. Every fisherman knows the rules by heart. The U.S. Department of Fish and Wildlife and the Alaska Department of Fish and Game, ADF&G, enforce one of the strictest regulatory systems in the world. Each vessel operates under a limited entry permit and a quota system, a legal cap on how many pounds of crab they can harvest in a season. These quotas, called individual fishing quotas, IFQs, are tracked down to the last pound, ensuring that no ship exceeds its assigned share. As crabs tumble out of the pot, the first sorter, usually the most experienced deckhand, begins the inspection. He grips each crab by its carapace, flips it over, and measures it with a calibrated gauge. The gauge is a simple aluminum bar with a fixed gap 165 millimeters across the shell. If the shell doesn't span that distance, the crab is too small. Undersized males are immediately tossed back into the frigid water through a chute at the side of the vessel. Every fisherman handles them gently, knowing that each release helps ensure next year's population. In these waters, sustainability isn't a slogan, it's survival. Next comes the check for females. In the king crab industry, only males are legal to keep. Females carry the future of the species, often identifiable by the wide abdominal flap on their underside. When lifted, many of them reveal clusters of orange eggs, a sight that halts any debate. The crew returns them carefully to the sea, even pausing briefly to ensure they right themselves in the water before sinking. Once the keepers are identified, the remaining crabs are weighed and counted, then transferred to circulating seawater tanks built into the deck. The water is maintained just above freezing, between 1 degree Celsius and 4 degrees Celsius, to keep the crabs alive without shocking them. A constant flow of oxygenated seawater mimics their natural environment, preventing stress and shell damage during storage. Throughout this process, regulatory observers play a critical role. Many vessels carry onboard inspectors or satellite-linked monitoring systems that record every catch event. Cameras on the mast capture pot retrievals, and digital logbooks automatically update each crab's coordinates and timestamp. The data is transmitted to the National Marine Fisheries Service, NMFS, in real time. Fishermen must also complete daily catch reports, detailing how many pots were set, retrieved, and how many crabs were kept or released. These reports are audited against the vessel's Vessel Monitoring System, VMS, data ensuring accuracy and transparency across the entire fleet. When the final pot is hauled and the sorting complete, the ship transforms once again from a working battlefield of ice and labor into a floating vault of treasure. Inside the vessel's seawater tanks lie thousands of live red king crabs, each one a shimmering prize worth its weight in gold. This is the output phase, where weeks of danger and precision are converted into measurable scale and economic impact. Across just 48 hours of non-stop work, the fleet collectively pulls up over 120 tons of red king crab from beneath the frozen surface of the Bering Sea. Each crab averages between 6 to 10 kilograms, its long, spindly legs and thick shell making it one of the largest crustaceans in the world. On the global market, that translates to a combined haul valued at approximately $7 million USD, an astonishing figure for a 2-day window of harvest. The deckhands move methodically through the next stage, weighing, counting, and logging. Digital scales record each batch before it's transferred to the insulated tanks, ensuring full compliance with quota regulations. Every number is checked twice, first by the ship's mate, then by the captain, because even a miscount of a few dozen crabs can mean thousands of dollars lost at auction, or penalties from the Fishery Council. Inside the tanks, the water system runs continuously. Pumps circulate chilled seawater at precisely 41 degrees Fahrenheit, 5 degrees Celsius, to keep the crabs alive and stress-free. Oxygenation systems hum in the background, and crew members constantly monitor salinity and temperature. A single mechanical failure could turn an entire million-dollar haul into spoiled loss within hours. When the hold is full, the captain sends a coded message to the satellite dispatch office in Dutch Harbor, signaling that the vessel is ready for transport. From there, a chain of logistics springs into motion, a coordination effort as impressive as the catch itself. At the dock, refrigerated transport trucks line up in neat rows, engines idling in the frost. Each truck is loaded with tanks of circulating seawater or insulated crates, packed with live crab. Some ships offload directly into floating processing barges, where workers sort crabs by grade and destination. The highest quality specimens, those with perfect symmetry and deep red shells, are reserved for export to Japan and South Korea, where Alaskan red king crab is a luxury delicacy often served during New Year celebrations. The remaining bulk travels to Anchorage, Seattle, and Los Angeles, feeding into the U.S. domestic market. From there, the crabs are distributed to seafood distributors, restaurants, and high-end markets across the country. In total, a single successful voyage can feed tens of thousands of consumers worldwide. On a broader scale, Alaska's red king crab harvest represents just a fraction of America's seafood output, but its economic and symbolic value is unmatched compared to the enormous cod and pollock fisheries that dominate by tonnage. King crab stands out for its price per pound. While pollock sells for under $2 per pound, live red king crab can exceed $40 per pound wholesale, depending on size and quality. That makes it one of the most profitable species in the U.S. seafood industry. Internationally, Alaska competes head-to-head with Russia and Norway, the other two major producers of red king crab. Russia's Barents Sea fleets harvest higher volumes, but often face trade restrictions and quality inconsistencies. In contrast, the United States maintains a global reputation for traceability, sustainability, and premium handling qualities that secure its dominance in luxury seafood markets. To put the scale in perspective, a single Alaskan crab vessel can earn more than $1 million in gross revenue per trip during peak season. The combined fleet may land over 8 million pounds, 600 metric tons of red king crab annually. This generates over 50 million in direct dockside value, which then multiplies through processing, export, and retail chains into hundreds of millions in total market activity. Aboard the vessels, payment is based on a share system rather than fixed wages. The captain typically takes around 10–15% of the gross earnings, the engineer around 7–8%, and each deckhand receives a percentage ranging between 3% and 5%, depending on experience and seniority, after deducting fuel, bait, insurance, food, and gear costs. The remainder is split among the crew. For a successful season, especially a high-yield run, like the one producing $7 million in under 48 hours, each fisherman can earn between $30,000 and $50, 0 inches, just a few weeks. Captains and vessel owners may clear several $100,000. Yet, this income is anything but easy money. Every dollar is hard-earned through sleepless nights, frostbite, exhaustion, and constant danger. Fishermen describe it as risk compressed into a paycheck. One wrong step on an icy deck, one rogue wave, or one jammed winch could end a life. Insurance premiums for vessels in these waters are among the highest in the maritime world, and replacement costs for equipment destroyed by ice or storms can erase profits overnight. But the crab fishery's reach extends far beyond the crew. In Alaska's economy, commercial fishing is the largest private sector employer, supporting over 60,000 jobs statewide. The crab industry alone fuels thousands of indirect jobs, from welders and shipbuilders to fuel suppliers, cold storage operators, and logistics companies. Processing plants in Unalaska, Anchorage, and King Cove employ hundreds of seasonal workers who clean, steam, and package the crabs for export. Local airlines and shipping companies profit from the air freight business that moves live crab overnight to Seattle, Los Angeles, and Tokyo. Even the state government benefits. License fees, landing taxes, and export duties funnel millions of dollars into Alaska's revenue stream each year, supporting public services and infrastructure. In total, the red king crab industry contributes more than $150 million annually in direct economic value, and when multiplied through processing, transport, and retail sectors, that number grows to over $500 million in total economic activity. On the world stage, Alaskan king crab remains a prestige, the gold standard of luxury seafood. Each crab can fetch up to $200 to $250 wholesale, and by the time it reaches restaurant tables in Tokyo or Seoul, its price can soar past $400 per crab. In Japan, red king crab is often the centerpiece of New Year celebrations, symbolizing prosperity and abundance. In South Korea, it's a delicacy featured in high-end seafood restaurants known as daejeon, where diners pay premium prices for Alaskan imports over local catches. Meanwhile, in the United States, king crab legs adorn buffets in Las Vegas hotels and luxury steakhouses in New York and Miami, marketed as a taste of Arctic adventure. This global demand stabilizes Alaska's fishing communities and positions the U.S. as a leader in sustainable premium seafood. The Marine Stewardship Council (MSC) certification attached to Alaskan king crab guarantees traceability and ecological responsibility, an edge that allows American exports to compete against cheaper but less regulated Russian or Norwegian crab. Still, beneath the impressive figures lies the truth that this industry runs on endurance. During the season, fishermen may work 20-hour shifts for weeks, sleeping in 4-hour rotations, eating quick meals of coffee and canned stew between sets. Many describe coming home with injuries, frost-bitten fingers, and memories of storms that nearly claimed their lives. Yet, for them, the reward is more than money. It's the pride of bringing home a product that feeds nations and sustains entire communities. In their words, every crab we pull up means heat in someone's house, tuition for a kid, or food for the winter. Clyde. The cold chain starts immediately. The crabs are stored alive in seawater tanks at 4150 degrees Fahrenheit to preserve their flavor and texture. Some vessels process onboard crabs are cleaned, sectioned, flash frozen, and vacuum packed within hours. Others transport the live catch directly to shore-based processing plants, where hundreds of workers trim, steam, and package the meat under strict sanitary controls. Every link in this chain ensures the product reaches consumers in perfect condition, from Alaskan waters to luxury restaurants in New York, Tokyo, and Seoul. In the frozen silence of Alaska's winter seas, courage becomes routine. These fishermen rise before dawn, fight ice and exhaustion, and stake everything on the promise of one more full pot. This isn't just about crab, it's about human willpower against nature, the same spirit that keeps America's working coastlines alive. So would you choose modern automation or traditional grit to secure the future of our oceans? Share your thoughts in the comments below.